All right.
Alright.
Hello and
Hey,
welcome
everyone.
to JelloCast with myself, DevBear, and TuttButt's here. Today we have our
Yeah.
guest, Dolo. Dolo, say hello.
Hello, gamers. How you guys doing this game-tastic day? I hope you guys are playing some Fortnite.
Please,
Oh my
Where we
no.
dropping, where we dropping, boys?
To a roaring start.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
And I'd like to apologize for my absence as of last week. But hey,
Yeah.
I'm back
Tutter
now.
butter
What's
sucks.
up?
Mm.
Yes, I do.
Great to have you back, Tutt.
Also, I need everyone who's listening to the stream called Tutt's Tutter Butter. All right. Hashtag Tutter. I need that.
It's
trending,
already
please.
starting nice.
This is how I do. This is how I roll. Roll with the punches.
Go right into it.
And I. All right. Yeah.
All right.
So I'm
Alright.
happy to be here, guys. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
No
So-
problem, man. Thank you for coming.
Could
Locked me in this cold, dark room.
yeah, Dolo, could you
And
just
I'm happy to
give?
hear that.
I don't know much about you myself, Dolo. I just know that you're Tutt's friend. So could you give yourself a self introduction?
Well, hello, I'm Dolo on the internet, or if you follow me on my Smash stuff, I'm Dykus, DYKAS, which stands for Did You Know the Alaskan Seal Because for up to 15 minutes without oxygen. Yes, that's actually a true fact. And I do a lot of I do a lot of drawings, I do a lot of memes. I also post a lot of pictures of my dog.
Yes,
That's
he-
pretty much all I do, and I work. Other than that, life is pretty great. And hopefully soon, I have actual stuff going on. You can follow me on my YouTube. I've actually had videos I've made because
yeah.
you know
Quality content.
Oh yeah.
quality content and fart jokes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much me.
Nice.
Not a really interesting person.
Mm.
Also, I have a great boyfriend
Yes, you
who
do.
is hottie patati, and I want to rock his body.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Way to go for it, man.
Beautiful.
Okay.
All right.
So
So what we got on the schedule for today is
What's
a
on
lot
the-
about art.
mhm.
You know, because
Ooh.
last I checked, we are all artists in our own retrospect.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call me an artist. I'd say more of a mistake, but
Oh
you
my
can say that.
god.
Yeah.
Listen,
So
edgy jokes is what I am.
I mean, all of us here have our own artistic turns in retrospect, but like, we each have our own specifics. I mean,
Oh yeah.
we're not just about art in drawing sense. I'd like to say that I'd also do art in other parts.
yeah.
Yeah, I do some art and my parts.
No, that's
that didn't even make sense.
no. Hold on a second there.
This is a Christian channel. How dare
This is a
you?
Christian shit. Don't make me say it. I'm gonna say it.
No.
Frick.
Oh my
How
god.
dare you?
Well, now I mean, how could I possibly have this anywhere now?
We're demonetized now.
God damn. Not again.
There it is. There goes that yellow sun.
Mm.
But yeah, I actually met Dolo at my Votech, and that's how I like got to learn more about animation and stuff like that. So we're both animators. So
Oh yeah, we met in Francis Tuttle. I was finishing my last year doing animation, which is quite frankly one of my favorite things to do.
Mm.
And if I had a tablet, I'd be constantly drawing stuff out and trying to make things happen.
Nice. I am not an animator. At best, I do slideshows.
What I would say is that
maybe
animation, I don't understand why, but I love frame by frame. Like the tedious shit is what I
Yeah.
love most. Like especially like I don't just animate, I also edit. And when it comes to editing, I love going through each and every frame, seeing
Hmm.
what perfect thing I could do to make it seem better.
I gotta say, I'm a big fan of like in between frames.
Yeah.
All
in between frames are, like, my
all the
favorite
like
things ever.
the stretching and stuff to make the motion happen. That's the funnest thing ever for me.
Stretching
Yes.
squatch is
Stretch and
what-
squash,
Yeah.
smear frames. Oh, it's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah. A
Squeak.
wonderful thing.
Yeah, that's
But,
my favorite part of that.
Oh yeah,
How-
I enjoy that too.
How many years have you been animating, Dolo?
Technically 2. I didn't really start it until I got into Francis Tuttle
Oh,
because I wanted to. I've always enjoyed it. I've always like admired it. But,
Okay, so you know how the DSI had like its own animation
Oh, the
program.
footnote. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I
I started animating using that, and to say
yeah.
the least, I was not good at it. I didn't understand the
Oh
concept
yeah.
of animation, but I got
I
better
remember I
at
tried to
it.
make like. I remember when I was a kid, I tried to make like Sonic comics with it with my OC in it,
Oh my
and
gosh.
like I found a really old one, and it was like a whole bunch of pages of me drawing out the characters and then poorly coloring it, and I was like, oh, I wanted to die a little bit right there. That's that old school cringe. Like fuck, damn,
Jeez, man.
this is bad.
Yeah.
This is bad. Uh,
Dev.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't really have much to say on that. I mean,
Were
yeah.
you at least interested in animation? Like, did you want to try it out if you had the proper, equipment?
to be honest, I actually have never really been that interested in animation entirely.
Really?
Yeah, I've really always liked art in all of its forms, cartoon arts and animation. I really like the idea of it. I myself don't think I'd ever really, I don't know. It's not that I've never really wanted to do it. It's just well, actually, yeah, no, it is that I've never really wanted to do it.
Right.
It's
Okay.
strange. At best, I like the more story related aspects. When I do like the stuff that I do, which is slideshows. Let's not fuck around here. But what I enjoy about that is more more of the telling of the story than the actual animating or animation or anything like that.
So you'd rather
Yeah, that
get
is
like a
a-
story across, basically.
Yeah, I'm at heart a writer, not a drawer, really.
Understandable.
Just at heart, though. Everything else is all fluctuating.
Right.
Yeah. You can be good at stuff and
Alright.
not really be. I don't know what the word is
Yeah.
for that, but
Yeah.
Hmm.
I understand.
Yeah.
Hi,
But-
Tutt and Dolo. Hello.
Yes. No. We have different forms though. Like
Don't look
different
at the
forms
chat.
of.
Don't look at the chat. Don't
Yeah.
do that.
We have different forms of art. Like I know that you're pretty good at music. I think so at least. I think you're great at music.
I'm subpar, but I just started writing
Okay,
songs.
that is.
No,
I
no,
will
no,
say
no, no.
that is a bunch of bullshit. No,
Okay, listen,
your
listen,
art is
listen,
great.
listen, listen.
No, your music is great.
Okay,
Yeah.
listen. I have room for improvement. Is all I'm trying
Okay.
to say.
I agree with that, but I will say even now your music is because I try to play a piano, man. I'm trying to play some My Chemical Romance. I can't play words a damn. You're like, yo, you get that ukulele. I'm thinking I'm in a live episode of Steven Universe. Before it got
I
that.
mean, personally, I would actually really like to see Tutt making a song with a bunch of different instruments.
I am willing to do that, honestly.
I'd
I
like
honestly want to see
I'd
that.
like to see that with keyboard and guitar and
Uh,
everything.
Yeah, I'm willing to like collaborate with other people. Like, Dolo, you know Copper, right? I want to collaborate with him.
You do? Yeah, Copper. I hate that guy. Ugh.
Oh, shut the fuck up. But yeah.
Nah.
Also, Red Time Cat, you are absolutely able to ask questions.
Yeah, I'll be.
Yeah, ask questions, man.
Just so you know, anyone who's silent during the conversations, if there's only two people talking to each other, you should assume that the third person is staring directly at chat, hoping that questions come up.
Yeah.
So feel
You
free.
can ask any questions. I'm also here. I'll answer anything. I'll even tell you my address. It's
Don't-
123. Fuck you.
I somehow feel that may be a falsified address.
Whatever do you mean?
Also, did you
Alright,
just call me a stinky butt?
Okay.
Nice.
Tutter butter, I need you to calm your butter, okay, Tutter?
Oh my god. Alright. So, in the aspect of animation and stuff like that, do you guys prefer traditional, digital, or like, pivoted stuff? What do you guys prefer?
I mean, do you mean?
personally
I've got a query on this. So when you say that, do you mean do I prefer practicing it or looking at it?
I guess a little bit of both. Like, how about this? In when you are like watching a movie and you see animation in it, do you prefer like old time traditional animation where it was like drawn with paper at first and then like gelled over afterwards with transparent sheets of paper, or like do you prefer like the more modern animation where it was made with computers, or like
You know,
jointed animation?
for me, that entirely depends on the style that they're trying to get across, and I think it should really be interspersed because depending on, because I focus a lot mainly on the story and how to get it across. If you're trying to tell a really serious story and try to have no comedy whatsoever, but you're doing a cartoony style, I'm gonna think that's stupid watching it. I might enjoy it. I might still enjoy it, but then in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, this could look so much better if you just didn't do that thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
It's the same if like someone tries to be really, really comical and funny while having a really, really, really serious style. Like you've seen the pencil drawings that I do. Imagine if someone did that.
Like Archer in a sense. That's a good
No,
example.
no, Archer in a sense, the animation of it, because it's not actual the actual animation style of like moving things. More, it's like clip pieces together kind of animation. I don't know really how to explain it because I don't know the terminology, but because it's got that feel to it, it feels more, comic like, and it's more comical. Whereas like I don't have any examples of bad stuff because I tend to, if I notice bad stuff, I don't list the name. I just forget about it.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah.
Speaking of good animations, let's take this sweet time to talk about our Lord and Savior Boku no Pico. One of my favorite animes.
I'm gonna stop you right there and instead direct you to Red Time Cat, who said, "What do you think about harmonica and ballads?"
The harmonica and ballads, like.
Isn't that harmonica like what is the harmonica? Is that like that piano kind of? What is that?
Harmonica is a handheld blowing, like a handheld wind instrument.
Yeah. Right, but
it's like a what's the thing called? What's the thing? Fuck.
Kazoo?
Damn it, I can't remember it. No, not a. Oh, I have a kazoo actually. Hold on.
Do not play the kazoo.
Do not play the kazoo. I will go to your house and slap the back of your head.
Why can't I play the kazoo? I feel as if you're trying to silence me now.
We are. That is exactly what we're trying to do.
Hold on.
I'm taking a stand.
Are you taking a stand with pride?
You used to play the class played the clarinet. I used to play the flute.
What you mean by the harmonica in ballads? Like, is that
not in ballads? Harmonica and ballads.
I know.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know what that's supposed to mean because the harmonica and ballads are both capitalized, and I'm starting to think it's something that is referencing to another thing.
Yeah, it might be.
So
I don't think of harmonica. I think it's like that piano thing you blow into. That's like what's the thing that?
Yeah, that's a melodica. Yeah.
Dude, I want that so bad. I want a melodica.
Okay. Bring this into it. I bet we have a bunch of differing opinions. I think no.
College isn't worth it?
No, I don't think college is worth it.
I think college is worth it if you're going for something you want to pursue. If you're going just to please someone else because you don't want to hear their mouth, you're going to hate it. Which is why I took a break here from college, because if I went to college, I would just be going because my mom wanted me to go. But now that I've had time on my own, I really want to go for pursuing what I want to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, different sense here. Glass says he wants to go to a college for animation. And to me, as an Australian, this is entirely biased because of me being an Australian and because of the way that because of how much things costs here, especially education. Education is much cheaper than America. That's the best way I can put it. It's not really cheap here either. I still think it costs too much. But I'd rather it cost this much rather than have taxes be super high and everyone gets free education, because then we'd all just live terrible lives anyway. If you're going to college, my ideal for it is go to college in a way that you're confirmed, like you're gonna have a job when you leave college. Because if you don't, then you're probably just it's gonna suck. And I personally don't like the idea of being unrelated to Glass because he wants to go to college for the actual animation, but I don't like the idea of going to college personally because I often think about the different jobs that I might want in my life, and it changes a lot. It changes all the time. So when I think I'll go to college for this, I immediately think, but what if I want to be like a baker? You know?
Yeah.
What if I go to college for 4 years, get a huge amount of debt, and then I want to be a baker, and I spend another 2 years learning how to be a baker in like trade school. I become a baker, and then I realize like halfway through baking, oh, I can't live normally because I can't pay the funds here. We have help, we have loan payments and stuff like that we can do, but at the same time, I won't be able to expand as much as I might want. I won't be able to open a new bakery and have a bakery. Which what if I wanted to do that? I don't want to go into college, end up with all these debts, and then find I don't want to do this. I want to be something that I didn't need to go to college for.
Okay, so to add on, I've learned that for animation and art in general, that you really just don't necessarily need to go to college for that kind of thing, because what people or clients are looking for when they're trying to look for animation and art skills, they're trying to look for a good resume, a good portfolio, demo reel, whatever.
Okay. Just going back on that. I mean, I have an art college degree probably adds a lot to the resume.
Well, yeah, of course, it always adds.
But I'll tell you
for,
completely different thing there is that it's probably not gonna be what you know and what's on your resume. It's gonna be who you know and who you have networking with.
That's true.
Honestly, that's just life. I learned that specifically, like from personal experience. I will give you a great story. GameStop. This is like in order for me to get a job, I had to know people to get into there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like without knowing the manager, I would have never gotten the job, because they even say like, yo, if we don't know anyone who works here, like it's your chances of getting this is slim. So networking is always important, in my opinion. I've been doing this. This is why I started like Smash stuff, etc., etc. So like I could get my name out there. So if I want to like say like I do get a YouTube career, I can start posting things. They're like, hey, what? And they'd be like, oh, I already have some sort of a following. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's always good to network.
Real quick here. Sorry to just break out of here, but I just saw Glossing say, I mean, if it doesn't work, I can be an art teacher. Teaching sounds fun, he says. I would recommend going. I would recommend not doing that.
You can be a teacher.
One thing over in Australia, you are required to have a teaching degree to be a teacher, which means you have to do another entirely separate degree to do it. I mean, aside from that, if you're not doing that, if you don't do well in your art college degree, no place is going to think, oh, you didn't do great in your art thing, here, have an art teacher role. Because, the future of these children is important. They're not going to leave it to like, oh, let's just give it to that guy who went to art school. They want you to have a teacher's degree now. I mean, guaranteed it's not going to really matter that much when you actually try to get the jobs. But at the same time, neither is your art degree, really.
Okay, so
I have one quick question.
Yeah.
I didn't know you're from Australia, Dev. Quick question: are there just wild kangaroos around? Please tell me there is. Because I want to be like,
no.
Not.
I want to go to I want to go to Australia just so one day I get to see a fucking kangaroo walk around and go, ha, Kangaroo Jack, and never go back again. That is my one of my goals in life.
Okay, yeah.
To do that.
With kangaroos in Australia, no, they aren't everywhere. But if I walked about maybe 2 hours in any direction, I'd probably find some kangaroos.
Okay, and are kangaroos just like huge dicks, or are they just like kangaroos?
Well, it really depends, because most people, their idea of kangaroo is actually a wallaby, and wallabies are wonderful creatures. They're like mini kangaroos.
Oh, they sound adorable.
They are. They're amazing.
They sound adorable.
They're wonderful. Kangaroos are big, muscly assholes.
Oh no.
And they don't really like people being around too much unless they're like zoo kangaroos or wild kangaroos, not too fond of people. You're not gonna be able. I mean, like, there's some that are good and some that are bad. You could have a really bad or a really good experience, really. But just stick with wallabies. Wallabies are much nicer. If you're gonna go find a kangaroo, I would suggest hunting it and eating it.
You can eat kangaroos?
Yeah, they eat kangaroos there.
Kangaroo meat is quite nice, in my opinion.
Oh, how does it? I'm kind of interested in eating a kangaroo.
Well,
now.
Kangaroo. Well, there were less cows and more kangaroos in places. We saw kangaroos a lot more than we saw cows. So Aboriginals like ate a lot of kangaroo. That was one of their main food sources here.
Oh wow.
Kangaroo tastes
Man, the deep,
good. Just saying.
The deep lore.
Personal favorite: charred kangaroo meatballs. Oof, so good.
Yeah, you put the kangaroo on the Barbie, don't you?
I do that.
I love. I wanted to say that. I feel dirty, but I wanted to say that.
Okay. So before we move on, right quick, Red Time Cat says this is kind of deep, but would you rather be amazing at answering questions or asking or discovering questions?
Amazing at answering questions, because
yeah.
then the people will be like, "Hey, Dion, who farted?" And I could tell them exactly who farted.
Nice.
I said my real name.
My personal thing there. When you ask that kind of question, it feels a bit confusing to me, because when you are answering questions, I find that if you get into deep discussions, there's no question that you answer without raising other questions. So while you're answering, you're also discovering new questions. So,
Wow.
I think you can't be good at one without being good at the other.
Okay.
Yeah, I get that.
But if it were between, like, if it was, like, black and white, then I would definitely want to be good at answering questions.
Yeah, because you could use that in life. Also, Waldorf.
Absolutely.
Waldorf saying he wants a wombat. I got a cool little wombat thing that I think is awesome. It's something that a lot of people already know because it's not... It's pretty much common knowledge. But dude, wombats' pouches for holding their kids are backwards.
Holy shit. That's actually kind of cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. The pouches they open towards the crotch instead of towards the head. There's a reason for this. It's because wombats are burrowing animals. They go underground, they dig a lot. When they have their kids, they don't want to be splashing their kids in the face with dirt all the time. So they just evolved in a way that would have it so that when they're digging through the dirt, all of the dirt gets pushed past and the baby just sits there comfortably without getting any in its face.
With maximum comfort, wombat seat, buy yours today.
Yeah. I want to bring it up because I love animals in Australia, especially ones that don't live anywhere else.
Australian animals sound so cool because they're fucking exotic. You don't see a fucking kangaroo in Brooklyn.
You could, if you were really spirited about it.
I'd be very confused and probably see it get hit by a car.
Probably, yeah.
But
that happens a lot.
I don't see kangaroos in Brooklyn. You don't walk down the street, fucking, hey, Tony, I want a cannoli. And fucking Kangaroo Jack goes, hey, I know a lot about that. And fucking books it. And you're like, what the fuck?
But I got two animals that are probably my most favorite animals ever because of two things. I got a little anecdote here. When I was much younger and I was in my primary school, Australia's version of school for younger school, we had
elementary school.
No, it's grade 1 to 7. But while I was there, we had half of whatever you're about to say. Okay, I don't know how America works. I'm sorry.
Listen, in America, we shoot guns and shoot schools.
Oh
Oh
no!
God.
Oh, I
Jesus
tried to
Christ!
stop myself, but I couldn't. Oh, ooh, that one kind of hurt. Ooh. Oh, dang, that kind of hurt me a little bit.
No.
Ooh, boy.
Holy shit, man.
But
Jesus Christ.
Jesus, I need a filter.
Yes, you do.
Maybe for your personal
we
stuff,
had a
yeah.
pep talk.
Listen, I was told I don't need a filter, okay?
Glass. I don't think I did advertise this on Twitter.
I'll do YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. It's your main man Dave draws back with another super official food review.
Can I just talk about these two great animals? Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm getting off track.
All right. Okay. When I was younger, we had our little school playthings, and for one of these, we had to be the animals of Australian bushes. We don't call it forest; we call it a bush because there isn't enough green. It's all brown. Just live with it. But I had a favorite animal that I dressed up as for that whole play, and they're called numbats. And if you guys have time right now, I want you to go onto Google. I want you to look at a numbat, because they are amazing.
I'm going to
gonna
look
go
that
look
up right now.
Numbat.
If it's not amazing, I want my money
Numbat.
back.
They look so adorable. They're like mini, tiny fox things. They're great.
Dude, I love video. Oh my god, they're adorable.
Yes, they are.
Holy shit.
They
that
absolutely
one.
are.
Oh my god.
Hold on, I'm
Like,
still
it's-
looking it up real quick.
They're
It's
like,
like an armadillo squirrel.
it's like
Holy
the greatest
shit, I
thing
love
ever.
them.
There's that, and then one other creature, a creature that knows no predator. So if you can walk right up to it, and it'll walk up to you curiously, and you can touch it and pick it up, and it won't care. And they're called the quokka.
What is it? How do you spell it?
Quokka.
Quokka. Quokka.
Oh, KKA.
Yeah,
Oh
quokka.
my god, they are cute.
Quokka.
Why are
They live in an island over here at Perth, as well as other places, and they have no natural predator in
want
this
them.
place. It's called Rottnest Island, and I've gone there, and there's these quokkas all over the place, and I can walk up to them. I can just pick them up because they don't know what a predator is. They are not scared of humans at all.
Oh my god.
I want one.
They're
Oh, let's
they're
go to-
by far
Oh
my
my
favorite,
God.
one of my favorite creatures in the world.
They're illegal to make pets.
Of course, yeah, because people have been mistreating the quokkas in Rottnest Island.
How? Why would they do? Who are these people, and how can I kill them?
Oh my god.
Who would? Look at these babies. They're innocent creatures. Who want to do that to them?
Thanks, Glass.
I just want to
I
make sure they know it's okay.
want to let you know before you actually start it that I'm already appreciating you for doing that, Glass. He's gonna draw us, guys.
Oh, Gloss.
Aw,
Okay,
so
thank
cute.
you.
All right.
Yes, please.
thank you.
Very
Okay,
good.
tag me in my Twitter
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
and tag my Instagram, bro, because I love art. Any fan art
Nice.
of me, I love it.
Fantastic.
Because all art that's not mine is better.
Oh, shut up.
He's right, you know.
I am right.
Yeah.
You can't
Okay.
get mad at me. I'm right.
So-
I'm the shittiest artist.
So moving to a little bit more structure. Do you guys want to move to the first question that I had regarding styles and art?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sure, yeah.
The first question I have here is for our personal difficulties with art. What was the most difficult thing that you found in developing your art? Not your style, just art in general.
Okay, for me, it was definitely the anatomy.
De-
Oh my god, same.
Because, like, you know how anatomy is so stupidly complex that, you know, if you make one thing a little too big, it looks totally weird, and you try to fix it, but it never works out. And, you know,
Honestly,
it hurts.
It's just painful.
I agree with you in that aspect. Like, anatomy is something I can never get down. Like, even if I draw like a realistic kind of animation, I can't get
Right.
the anatomy down right. Which is why, like, I think I've slowly turned into more of a cartoony style because anatomy doesn't matter much in that sense. As long as it look decently nice, you could do a lot more with cartoony styles, in my opinion.
Mhm.
So that's why I like drawing it more because, like, I can make it look like shit. But it's like, oh, that's just cartoons. You know, you kids and your cartoons and your cornflakes, and that's how life works. And that's why I enjoy cartoony stuff.
That's
I
why you do
love
it.
to talk properly. That's why I do it. Yeah.
Talk properly?
Yeah. I don't talk properly at all.
No,
Hilarious.
no, you don't.
Yeah.
Thing-
What about for you, Dan?
yeah, my
what
personal
about you?
difficulty. I personally didn't actually find that much difficulty with any of the actual drawing aspects of art. I find that any difficulty that I have, after practicing enough, I'll be able to get through it, no problem. I feel that's the same for everyone, but people don't want to practice the things that they find difficult. The most difficult thing for
Yeah.
me was coming to terms with how my art is. Because
Yes.
I have been drawing for most of my life, and I'm very good at drawing very particular ways. Cartoon is not one of them, and that makes me really sad. And I've spent the majority of the most difficult moment was me trying to think, man, I can do it. If I just keep on drawing, eventually I'll be able to draw cartoons better than this. And I can see that there's such a long path ahead of me to actually do that. And now it would be so much easier for me to just switch to doing this kind of art instead of cartoon art. But I do more traditional art. If anyone's seen On my Twitter or anything like that, I draw the faces of people, the characters. I draw those in 20 minutes, and I think they're amazing.
They are amazing.
I'm cocky like that. About anything else you ask me
I'm gonna
about,
be
I wouldn't
right
say it. But this, I think, is amazing. See you in a
Wait,
bit, Dolo.
what?
Dolo's gonna be right back.
I'm gonna be right back.
Yeah.
I just gotta mute myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know. I just really fucking think I'm great at everything all the time. No. I don't know. I just think that I can draw these things a lot better than I can most other things. And that makes me sad because I want to be a better cartoonist. I want to be able to draw cartoon stuff and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just not good at that. And I'm much better at drawing traditional art and characters and faces.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to point out the Church of Ignorance. God bless you. Once he comes back, I'm telling him this question.
I saw that question while I was speaking, and I'm grimacing it already. I don't...
This is gonna be a perfect topic.
I'll put it here.
So let's talk about furries.
Oh.
All right.
Fuck.
There it is.
Now you thought I wouldn't read. I still have my headphones on.
Damn it.
Let me tell you, I don't really care for furries.
I mean,
Dude,
like,
majority of my friends are furries, and I also have a fursona. My boyfriend's a furry. Nigga, it doesn't even affect me. Do not talk about that. Shut your mouth, Larry. You shut your mouth, Tutt. Oh, come on. I know where you live, alright?
yeah, but no. Anyways,
Not a furry.
I guess
I just thought, man, a polar bear with a tie who's really happy all the time would be a fucking hilariously adorable character. And you know what? I'm right. It is. It's wonderful.
I have to call out my boyfriend in the chat real quick. Shut your mouth. I am not. You shut your goddamn mouth.
Mm.
You don't know anything about me. I am not a furry.
Okay.
That's it.
So,
I'm not a furry.
another question here that I'm actually interested to hear from you guys. What medium of art, despite respecting it, is a medium that you'll never do yourself?
okay, so I've actually done this medium of art, and that's painting with oil paints. But to be honest, it was a definitely tedious thing that I did back in my sophomore year, and I will never do it again, but I love, paintings done with oils, and that's awesome. You can do it all you want. I
love oil painting. Oil painting,
Honestly,
I think, is amazing.
It's not like a medium art I haven't done or like want to try. That it's not like form of art that I don't like, honestly, because everything is so it's a unique kind of thing that I can do nothing but appreciate it and want to try it. It's nothing I haven't tried that I've really hated. I just never gone back to them,
Yeah.
So that's kind of a tricky question for me because I love everything about it. Even if I can't do it, I love it.
Mm.
Right.
Honestly, and also when it comes to pixel art, I see this in the comments. It was pixel art right here by Church of Ignorance. I enjoy pixel art a lot. That's one of my favorite forms. I started making a lot of sprites about a year ago because my friend was trying to make an RPG, so I helped make a lot of sprites and stuff like that.
Nice.
And I also did a lot of Mother sprites. And if you don't know, Mother 3, which is Earthbound 2, one of my favorite games of all fucking time, makes my dick rock hard. I was going to go on a tangent. I had to stop. But stylized things like that and details in pixel art that you can really make, like the details you could do with it
Welcome back, class.
on such a small little model, it's so fucking cool, and I enjoy that a lot. And I'm about to go on a tangent about video games. Speaking of pixel art, Sonic Mania's pixel art.
Let's
my
let's
God.
move away, please.
I can't help it.
What about you, Dev?
What with me? There's actually a few mediums that I won't ever do. For one, textiles. It's never happening.
Yes.
I'm not doing it never again. Also, I have a personal dislike against acrylics.
Really?
Yes, I love oil painting, and I paint in oil myself when I can. And my grandmother, bless her soul, was an acrylic artist, and she did wonderful paintings. They were all amazing, and I've got pictures of them all throughout my phone. They're incredible, and I've got one right here framed right above my computer, and I look at it almost every day, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But I could never do it. I never really wanted to do it. Acrylic doesn't seem right to me. It seems really strange and unfamiliar, and every time I do it, it just feels kind of off. I love watercolor, and I love oil painting. Man, even like the crayon type of paint stuff, pastel stuff, that's all great. I don't know why, but acrylic is... Ugh.
Right.
I'm not sure why.
Also, Waldorf says that...
Yeah, I turned you guys up.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Okay.
nice. I'm loud and in charge now. So this is my time to...
Alright, so... I have a question for you guys.
Ooh, I like questions.
What was your inspirations for
Eagle Raptor.
Eagle Raptor? Yeah. How about
Are you asking
you, Dev?
Are you asking the person or like just why I started?
Like, your inspiration, like, what made you think that you really wanted to draw? Like, it could have been, like, a concept, or maybe you've watched movies, or, like, videos on YouTube. Like, what was your inspiration?
My inspiration would definitely be Eagle Raptor as a person, because honestly, like, his stylized and, like, over-exaggeration of everything always made me like, hey, I want to do that kind of shit, which is why, like, I think I've become an over-exaggerated kind of person.
Right.
Because I kind of just grew up on those kind of cartoons and shit like that. Like, edgy, raunchy bullshit.
What about you, Dev?
Well, I mean, I started drawing a really, really, really long time ago. I was, like, in pre-primary school. That's where, like, I got my best friend Cal. I call him Cal in all my videos. If I've mentioned him, he's Cal. He's pretty much the reason I started drawing, because when we were very young in our primary school years, a friend of our mutual friend Ben, who actually introduced me to Cal in the first place, he talked to Cal and was drawing up. He really liked the idea of being a copycat Pokemon. You know, he just wanted to draw cool-looking monsters, give them types, and imagine that he could make a game that was even close to being as good as Pokemon, which, you know, of course we can't. So, after a while, I got interested, and I started drawing a really sketchy type of creature, and it looked like a spirit. It looked like the spirit of a bird. And so they said, you know what? That looks really good ghost-like stuff. You're in charge of drawing that kind of monster. And I spent the better part of all of my primary school years drawing in a little booklet, handing it to Ben, and he put it in his clipboard. And, you know, that's where all my original drawings are, all in that one clipboard. And it's owned by him, and I haven't spoken with him in at least 2 years now. 2 years since I last met him. The time that I talked with him was like a 5-second discussion, or 5 minutes, and then we stopped again. Before that, 2 years before, same thing. And then before that, about 5 years before. So we really don't talk, me and him. He still has the clipboard somewhere in his house, full of all of those drawings, full of every monster that we could have ever imagined, all in that one little thing there. All my first ever drawings. And I remember when I got interested in the idea of actually putting more creating something that actually looked interesting, something that was my own. I didn't get that until a long time after that. I remember one of the drawings I was most proud of when I was young. Judge me as you will. I just ended up getting into anime at that point, and I really liked the character L from Death Note. So I got a picture of him, I put my piece of paper against my computer screen, and I traced out his face, and I showed all my friends, like, look at this. Isn't it a cool character? Because I knew a lot of them hadn't seen Death Note, and I just wanted them to see the character. And that was the best way I knew. I didn't have a phone that I could instantly just show them that kind of picture. So that's what I did.
Right.
And after that, I saw someone drew this. I realized, you know, because I didn't quite understand how it worked at the time, and now I have a lot more information, I'm a lot smarter than I used to be. And I know that it took a lot of effort to actually draw and create and become good at making that kind of stuff. And I personally dislike the style of anime drawing it. I like anime.
Right.
Don't get me wrong there. Love it. But if I'm drawing, when I start drawing an anime-esque character, I look at it and I think, man, that looks disgusting. More often than not, that's how it ends up. I like drawing characters that are more realistic with, you know the faces I draw. But
yeah.
After that, once I left primary school, I pretty much just stopped doing art. Bye, Eric the Great. I stopped doing art for a long,
I
long
love
time.
you.
I stopped my art because I no longer knew Ben. It was just me and Cal on our own suddenly. We didn't have the files full of papers, and we'd given up any of our motivation to do any more of that stuff. It was cool, but we didn't want to do it anymore. And so I just stopped drawing. I didn't do anything like that. And after a really long time of me being hopelessly sad and whining and bitching about pretty much every issue in my life and being a general pain to be around, eventually
So every emo kid in 2007.
pretty much, yeah.
Oh my god.
I decided to try and make friends with anyone at any time, and suddenly I became much more charismatic, however, not in real life, only online. And so from that, I ended up meeting two friends that I talk to every now and then, but not very much anymore. There was a friend, Zoe and Ord, and I met them through Osu, which is a great game. And
This is a good game.
I remember Zoe was really, I mean, retrospect, in hindsight, she wasn't very good. But she was much better than me, and so I looked up to her art style, and I thought, wow, that's good art. And I ended up getting inspired to do more art from her. However, that was very short-lived, as there was a bunch of drama shit that happened that made us all drift off from that kind of stuff. More recently, the reason I started doing art again is because I wanted to do videos, and I put all of the inspiration that I've gained for every single thing that I've done on YouTube, literally everything, that all goes straight to Rachrab. When I first got into this community, I had no intention of making any videos or anything like that, and I met Rachel because I was just jumping from server to server, trying to meet new people, trying to have people to talk to. And when I started talking with Rachel, I just clicked, and we were talking about all this stupid stuff a lot, and I wasn't, I just liked talking to her a bunch, and I saw that she had videos, and I liked her videos. I thought they were funny. And I talked to her, and I talked to her, and talked to her, and I think she mentioned, or we talked about it at one point, the idea of me trying to make a video. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people doing that. I guess I'll give it a shot. I made my first video, and it's on my channel. The first video I made with that in mind, and it's terrible. It's absolutely awful in my eyes. Just because I put very little effort into it. I just wanted to have something out, and I wanted people to judge me. I wanted people to say, this is bad, and this is how you do it better. That's what I wanted. And when I did that, that's exactly what happened. Because I put in the description, criticism is wanted. Please criticize me. And
please. Can you just roast me, please? r/roast me.
Just do it. Just give me the worst criticism you possibly give. And it's there. It's a video about me having nosebleeds, which I still have an issue with. I have nosebleeds a lot in summer. And it was... I did that a year ago.
I've never had a nosebleed before.
Yeah. It's been a year since I made that video, and it's awful. I see even the square for the TV screen that I made there is lopsided, and it's not a square. It's not a rectangle. It's just weird looking. And I put claws on the guy, and they just stick out like sticks coming out of his hands. And
Beautiful. That sounds beautiful.
It's terrible. I hate it. I love it and I hate it. But yeah, that's my inspiration. My current inspiration for why I make art probably rests on the shoulders of Rachrab. There's other people carrying it, but it's pretty solely on her.
All right. Well, for me, I grew up watching a lot of cartoons because my dad loved to show me like really old cartoons, like back in the day, kind of like the traditional Disney animation style, like Robin Hood and Jungle Book and stuff like that. He also showed me really old Looney Tunes cartoons. And, I grew up watching those as a kid, and I really looked up to them, and I was like, I want to do that as a kid. So, growing up a little older, I think I was in the 4th grade, last I remember, and my brother was in high school at the time, and he was drawing, really cool stuff in art class, and he would come home showing us like these really cool drawings that he did, and I was inspired by my brother to start drawing. Also a little inspiration from my uncle since he was a tattoo artist. But what I did which I regret now, but looking back on it, it was pretty funny. I would get Pokemon cards, or the Pokemon cards that I have, or that I had, bring them to school, and then trace the little pictures on them.
I remember you telling me this actually.
Yeah. And I would come home and saying, "Look what I drew," and my parents would praise me for it.
Mm.
A couple years later, after doing this, I got so good that I could just like look at a drawing from, or like a photo on, like a computer screen, or like, on an actual piece of paper, and just draw it. And then I started to think, what if I developed my own style? And this was during a time when I was getting really, really interested into anime, which was really bad.
Hey.
What about the
I
Minecraft?
remember, yeah, I started drawing stuff from an anime called Sergeant Frog, and it was really bad art. I would draw the little aliens on it. Ooh, it was bad. But then I started developing my own art style, which was not good at first, but it was definitely reminiscent to anime.
Hey.
And I started developing my own style from there. And then I got into the hellhole, as you guys know, the Minecraft YouTube fandom.
Oh no.
My drawings
What a
started
place to
to get
go.
a lot more blocky.
I wish you could just just place a picture of Tutt's
No.
old Minecraft art just right
No.
now, just in the middle of the stream. Please.
No.
I gotta get the roast.
No. But like, I started watching other YouTubers, animation YouTubers such as Egoraptor, Rubber Russ, who else? Fucking, I'm trying to think of others that were like relevant back in like 2014. And then I started watching people, posting videos of Let's Plays and stuff like that, and I'm like, I want to do that. So
Nice.
Okay.
I started doing that too.
I want to get a little. After you guys getting so in depth in what started you to do art, and now I want to do it. Cause I feel as if mine was just like, hey, simple question answered. But I would go all the way back when I was a child. So when I was a kid, I was super into Sonic and Dragon Ball, just those two things specifically. And my brothers could draw a lot, and I used to not be able to draw. And I knew I used to get like notebooks and tell them to draw on it all the time when I was a kid, and they would. And like I remember one day I was like, I'm gonna finally start drawing, and I drew nothing but stick figures, and that is where it all went downhill. I drew a lot of Sonic until I think like the 3rd grade, and that's when I got into a little game called Maple Story, which is basically just like an anime kind of like MOBA, I would say.
I got a good idea
MOBA
of what
RPG?
Maple Story is.
Yeah. Maple Story. I spent years playing that game. Oh my god. I started drawing the anime characters from that. And at first, all I really knew is how to draw hedgehogs. So going from hedgehogs to human is very, very hard. My people look like shit. But over time, I slowly got better at it. And a fun fact, my original Sonic OC, Dolo the Hedgehog, is basically like when I first made a human character, I basically just formed him into a fucking person. And that was like the greatest moment of my life, because like finally I'm making original shit.
Nice.
And then I was drawing for a long time, and I moved to Oklahoma where I live now, and I met one of my best friends for life, Braylon. And when I first met him, we did this project together. It was supposed to be something for the Bahamas, and he did all the work, and I just drew one anime character on the fucking beach. and I'll never forget that, because he made me like do the entire speech and everything, because he did everything and I just fucked around.
God damn it, man.
And ever since then though, we've been like just really inseparable.
Oh wait,
And
was that in that one class where like we had to create our own like speeches and shit, and then we made our
yeah,
I was in that class.
yeah.
Dude.
And so
We went to the same middle school.
yeah. And so that like the next year, I remember me and him, we started a comic together called Generically Weeaboo. And it was like the first time. This is like it was 8th grade. And I finally was like, all right, I'm gonna get my own style, my own thing, and I made my own OCs about like 3 characters who I still use to this day, which is Dolo, Kai, and Blake. I always use them, and I've also revamped them a lot because I love them a lot. And then I made a new character called Angie, who I also love and dear in my heart. So like, I got these 4 people I made. I mean, it was a lot of ripoffs because we started calling it generic reboot because there's a lot of ripoffs in it, like Dragon Ball Z tropes, Naruto tropes, shit like that.
Mhm.
And that was like the first time I really started like getting my own style, trying to develop shit. And ever since then, I've always been like adding more to it and more. And eventually, I got this cartoony style that I do today. But also, another big inspiration would be my cousin who went to not Rhode Island School of Design. He's been like an artist ever since I was like a kid, and I've always looked up to his shit because he had also a cartoony style, but also could draw realistically very well. And that's one thing that's always like I've admired about him. And I wish I could, but Lord knows I try to draw realistically. Yeah, let's not get into that. Yeah, that's my entire life story of art. 'Cause art is fun. And that's something I've enjoyed for years.
Entire life story of art. All right.
And
Another
I remember
question.
like one time in my life. Oh,
Another question.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, sorry. Red Time Cat just
You keep
asked.
talking at the same time.
Red Time Cat just asked,
Alright.
what kind of music do you listen to when you draw, if any? I just like, I'd like to answer first here, but Snail's House seems the obvious answer for me.
Yeah.
You know, chill out music with no lyrics. That's my stuff, man. Snail's House is wonderful.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
It would depend on what I'm drawing, honestly. Because
I agree.
so, if I'm drawing something really hard, I'm not gonna lie. I listen to sometimes when I'm drawing something like really gritty and shit. I listen to the fucking Sonic Forces theme track, fucking OST. Sometimes I listen to like a whole bunch of shit on my Spotify, which is like a mix of Snail House, lo-fi bebops, rap.
It's all good stuff to
fucking
listen
anything
to.
I like.
I personally can't
Yeah.
listen to anything that moves fast or fast-paced music while drawing because I'll constantly start to rush my drawing and then be like, no.
I love listening to fast-paced stuff. Honestly, that stuff makes me like want to draw more, and I draw more at when I listen to it. If that makes sense, you know what I'm saying?
I mean,
Yeah.
Because
I like
I'm
things.
I like to doodle.
I like things with like loud bursts of music in the middle of it, but generally slow. One of my favorite ones is Hot Milk. Despite the meme,
Yeah.
Hot Milk is a great fucking song. I love that song. Ooh,
Yeah, hot milk is
Sorry
pretty
about that.
good. Ooh, whoa,
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
what
Uh,
happened there?
Glass says, "Do you guys like Steven Universe?" I can answer that question. Dolo and I watch it, and I'm not sure about you, Dev. Do you?
I like
I've
it.
I've watched up to a point, but I started to dislike it after a bit.
Yeah,
To
my
say the
roommate doesn't
Yeah.
like it at all. Who's my best friend? He doesn't like it at all.
Hey, hello, Spike.
Oh, Spike.
That's a friend of mine.
I know
Spike.
that guy.
Yeah, he's cool. He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
Spike.
my art style is kind of inspired by Steven Universe, so yeah. I don't know. It's like
Genuinely try to avoid that. I like
what?
I like Steven Universe. I like the story that they have for it. I like the characters.
Yeah.
But after a while, I was like kind of just waiting for stuff to happen, and stuff wasn't happening. So I was just like, I'm just gonna stop watching. That's how it went for me. I don't know. I just got bored at some point. My interest went from like 100 to 0 in the span of like 4 episodes.
Honestly, I understand completely. Like, okay,
Because the
so-
first 50 episodes is really just filler. It's just, hey, look
Okay.
at Steven. He has a cookie cat.
But listen, the jailbreak arc.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
when it got really good. And then, I would talk about it, but I don't want to get into it. Because if I get into it, I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
Just like I want to talk about
we have a
Sonic Mania
somewhat
for the next
limited
5
number.
hours. Oh, yeah, limited time
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Glass. To be honest, I thought the first 5 minutes of TuttButt was in Rosanna. It's on Twitter. Yep. For those of you that don't know, I'm the long lost sister of Rose.
Nice.
So
Makes sense.
Why every time you
I
drew
can see
you
it.
drew her on the two podcasts ago, she was there and she just looked exactly the same as you, but with a rose in her hair.
Yeah, it was really
Fantastic. Yeah, it was. Man, oh, that's been confusing. I'm pretty sure, didn't Pink also think that you and Rose were the same person for a while?
I'm pretty sure that Ender as well. Shout out to Ender if you're listening.
Yo, shout out to Ender.
Hey, Red Time Cat. When I said despite the meme, it's because I often find that when people turn any kind of song into a meme, when you say that song, people don't think of the song; they think about the meme. I prefer the song. I don't. The meme is weird to me.
Hot Milk is actually a pretty nice song. I get it. Like you
memes
associate with the animation meme, but
the animation memes in general, I find kind of weird. I like a lot of them. I just think,
Yeah, I get what you come from. I do like a lot of animation memes, but like, it's kind of weird at the same time because my interpretation of a meme is like, "Hey guys, hey beater," and I'm looking at this. I'm like, "What is this? This is a meme. I don't see any shit posts here."
Yeah.
I think of memes as shit posts. That's what it is.
I often think memes when I think, "Oh, that's a funny meme," but then I see an animation meme, and I'm like, "That's a meme."
It's not funny. Where's the joke?
Okay, so
where's the joke? This is just beautiful.
As a person who's actually in the community, I'm like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I like me and Deborah like, yo, what the fuck is this shit? And you're over there sitting in the corner like, hey, I like to make animation memes. And we just look at you like, shut up, go back into your corner.
Gloss.
Go back into your cage.
For these, we go for 1 hour and then we stop. We got like 5 minutes left.
3.
Oh, really? Holy shit.
4.
Yeah, it goes by fast.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
it's fun though.
But
damn.
yeah.
What do I talk about? What do we talk about now?
Well, I got one more question here.
What's up?
Oh, sweet. Throw that question right about.
Tutt, you did already answer this in a way, but I'm interested with Dolo because I've seen bits and pieces of your stuff. But how did you come up with your style? How did you make it?
Okay, so for me,
yeah, I'll let TuttButt talk first.
Like I said, I was heavily influenced by anime at first because I really liked it. So I started off doing that, and then I got into the deep fucking well of Steven Universe, and I'm like, that's a really nice art style.
And
slowly,
Minecraft.
It's kind of like evolved. Shut up. It's kind of evolved into the art style that I have now. So yeah, that's basically it for me. What about you?
If it's talking about me, it would also be like I started like when Naruto came out. I was a huge fan of that, and I started drawing that. And as I said, it's like a little mix of Sonic and the anime I liked, like in general, like JoJo and shit like that.
Yeah.
After a while, it just I remember like at one point, especially it was a point where I was making a call with my friend, and he said, "Hey, I see you kind of like my style, and it's like if you want to do it, be original." That's kind of just stuck with me for a little bit. And I've slowly what I've done is that I've just taken every bit of everything that I like to mix it into one whole thing. Like I did go through like my own little Steven Universe phase, but I've said it's like over a while, like watching other animations on YouTube. Like one favorite thing that I like something that interests me that I think my art kind of resembles now is a YouTuber called Yotam Pearl, who I love a lot. He's one of my favorite animators on the YouTube, honestly. And like things like that, like Eagle Raptor, like a lot, not like the new age YouTube animators, but like the early 2000s, like who are doing different stuff now. Those kind of animators, like Hot Diggity Demon, Eagle Raptor, Ross, all that, like all that is a mix into my style. And so it's mostly my art style is a mix of things that I looked up to and fused it into its own little beast.
That's nice.
That's how I feel about it.
That's a very nice way.
And Dev, do you want to answer your own question?
I mean, I when I look at my art, I don't even think I have a style, to be honest.
Right.
I don't know how to answer a question because when I draw stuff, I don't associate it with a style. I just associate it with the faces of the people. When
so you have a more realistic style.
I mean, if I'm going for like my actual drawings, I draw the style that I draw because I'm better at drawing this than other styles.
Okay. All right, 2 more questions. Red Time Cat.
Oh, I was gonna read it. Can I read the question?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Do it, Dolo.
All right. Red Time Cat 96610 says, "What franchise would you draw if given the pay and opportunity?" Nigga, get me on that motherfucking Sonic franchise. I will die because Sonic is my favorite. All right. If I could, I would learn how to draw everything right, like the fucking big gloves, the big shoes, and how it looked perfect. And like especially in Sonic Mania, because it looks so perfect. Have you seen the art in that? Okay, I'm gonna stop because I won't
down?
stop.
Uh,
What franchise?
I mean, if it was possible, I'd like to draw stuff for Dungeons and Dragons and stories related.
Nice.
Oh, nice. What about you, TuttButt?
It really depends. I really want to like work with the people that run like Cartoon Network and Adult Swim. So, maybe.
So you want to be on Rick and Morty. You want to get your IQ all the way up there. I see.
You see,
I watch a lot of Rick and
next
Morty
time I
too.
see you, I'm going to slap you. No, but like,
No balls, you won't.
but like, yeah. Honestly, I would just get, you know, in that kind of franchise, I guess. If Steven Universe is still, you know, kicking, then I would definitely draw for them. And last question for tonight is, when is the next podcast? Well, we usually do it around the weekends.
That's the best
Either
part.
won't be
late at
there,
night or during
sadly.
the evening. But yeah,
Well,
you guys can
expect.
Go ahead.
We only do it for 1 hour. It's either from 8 to 9, or it's from 10 to 11, depending on the situation.
Yeah.
For me, I am UTC plus 8 Perth time. I normally have these streams from about 8 to 9, or from 10 to 11, or 11 to 12, sometime in that general range. You're gonna have to adjust it to your own time zone, because time zone's just, man.
Yeah, you live in the future. Oh, you're living in the future.
12 hours.
I just realized that.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that just hit me.
Also, hey, Spike.
What's it like in the future?
Just up to the two guests, you guys have great personalities and styles. So you guys,
Thank you.
You got Spike subbed, but also, Tutt is not actually a guest for this podcast.
This is my podcast.
Yeah. And I'm never allowed back here. They're like, hey, you can only be here for 1 day, and then they hit me with a whip multiple times.
Oh my god, no.
Red Time
Please
Cat, whatever day today is for you, probably either today or tomorrow.
It is Friday.
Like Fridays, Saturdays. So yeah.
But Glass, if I advertise on my Twitter, it advertises the live podcast, and then like right after, it'll end up advertising the video when it's out. It's confusing to me. I hate doing it. I hate advertising the same thing more than once. Man, come on.
Aww.
But yeah, this is actually
Let's put my YouTube in there real
just put this here for
Aw.
future reference to anyone who actually gets interested and wants to watch more of these. But Tutt is the host of this podcast. This is it's her idea, it's her brand and everything. I'm a co-host here.
quick. Yeah.
It's on my it's on my channel right now because her internet sucks.
Yes.
It's gonna stay on my
Yeah.
channel for the foreseeable future. Not just because her internet sucks, but because I want it to be on my channel.
I think we should
DevBear, more
definitely like
Savage
get.
Bear.
We should also get like a separate channel for this. I think.
And I
maybe.
would like to be a guest multiple times on here, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah!
But-
I'm gonna come back with like 80s/90s fucking clothes and just dance,
Mhm.
dance to
Oh.
my heart's content. Fuck yeah!
All right. Well, it's been a great time with you,
Yeah.
Dolo. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, good
and
times been had, but
taking your
I'm
time.
pooped.
Wonderful to meet you. This is also my first time really talking to you.
Yeah,
Aw, yeah.
you've kind of got a hint of my personality. Either people hate me or love me. It's one of the two.
Ah,
Never in between.
I think you're pretty good.
Hey, Dad.
Just pretty good though.
All right. Thank you guys so much for coming and watching. This has been
All right.
JelloCast.
Follow me on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. My Twitter is DoloPS3. My Instagram is
Stop
Dolo.
doing this now.
I'm promoting and my YouTube is also DoloPS3. I'm gonna make videos in the future, but I suck at the moment.
Gosh.
Follow me on Pinterest,
Oh
Kickstarter,
my god.
your mom's toaster. I'm on everything. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for coming for this, and I hope we see you next time on JelloCast. Thank you.
No problem, man. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. To all of the viewers, I say that as well, though.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you guys too.
Thank you very much.
Mwah.
Mwah, mwah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.